This is Tell Me What to Read, brought to you by Booktopia. I'm your host, Nick Wasiliev, and welcome to the show where we chat about the next great books you should be reading with the authors behind them and familiar faces who read them. All books mentioned in today's show can be found right now at booktopia.com.au, and the links can be found in the description.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Reaney from Best&Less, and this is a very special episode of the podcast Tell Me What to Read, powered by Booktopia. We're recording today from Best&Less Miranda in Sydney, and I'm thrilled to be joined by best-selling children's authors Matt Stanton, Sarah Ayoub and Kate Mayes. Welcome.
Thank you.
I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this to any First Nations people here today and those listening in future. I'm very excited to host this chat today on behalf of Best&Less and Booktopia as we celebrate the magic and fun of Christmas. And if you're anything like me, you've probably hit the panic button right about now as the race to Christmas begins. But don't worry, you're in great hands with Best&Less and Booktopia for all your Christmas needs. For all the children in store today, make sure you take an activity pack that we have available. There are colouring in sheets, pencils, and a little special Christmas treat for you. And for the parents, please make sure you take one of the cards. You'll be able to purchase one of the books here today, learn more about the authors, as well as explore the amazing Christmas apparel we have here at Best&Less. I wanted to take some time to hear about the exciting new books you amazing authors have just released. So if we can start one at a time, and if you could tell me about the kinds of stories you write and about your newest book. We might start with you, Matt.
Sure. So I write novels for primary school kids. And my latest book is called Funny Kid Catastrophe. So the Funny Kid series I've been doing for the last few years. There's 12 books in that series. And what I'm trying to do is give kids the most funny experience they can have when reading a book. So Funny Kid Catastrophe is all about cats. It's all about Max does not like cats, but his parents buy a cat because they think he'll like it. And all sorts of kind of disaster starts to take place. So yes, Funny Kid Catastrophe, that's my new one.
I love that. What about you, Sarah?
So I write novels for young adults, and this year I started writing picture books, and my latest picture book is Nice and Slow, and it is all about the wonderful ways that we can have a slow day at home, cooking together, spending time off screen and just spending time, making up a team sport, building a living room cushion fort, just playing with the toys that we know, just all the wonderful ways we can spend time with family.
Yeah, so important. Such an important message at this time of year when we're all racing around. What about you, Kate?
Well, I write children's picture books, so tend to be in that preschool sort of toddler space. And my new book is called The Christmas Bum Book, which is actually a follow-up to a previous book called The Bum Book. And I suppose I write for children to have a lot of fun and to share fun and laughter with the people that read to them. So I would sort of say that the Christmas Bum Book's very much designed for the whole family to enjoy, especially in the lead up to Christmas.
So as authors, children's authors, I think you have the best job in the world. You get to create stories, create characters, use your imagination. How do you get your inspiration? We might start again with you, Matt.
I love my job. I love what I get to do. I have 4 kids of my own, and so my wife Beck and I we're in kid world all the time with them and with their friends, and so the joy of being able to create stories for them, thinking about where they're at and the things that make them laugh, and how to give them a really pleasurable, enjoyable time reading. which is often a kind of difficult skill that they've just had to learn to do. And so we're trying to help them to move from the kind of the work of learning to read to the joy and the pleasure of reading for fun.
Sarah?
So I've got 3 children, and they are my inspiration. My stories are all about love and family and the joy that we can get from spending time with each other. Of course, there's a lot of frustration there too, but it's an idealistic way of living. And I think, as you mentioned, life gets so busy. I'm a working mum, so it's important for me to find ways where I can connect with my children on multiple levels, and I find that books are a great way to do that. And I basically wrote my books for my children, and I thought, why not give it a go, sharing it with other kids who might benefit from reading about the different ways that we can show love.
How fantastic. I bet they love your stories.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
they get sick of them.
And Kate?
Well, one of my first favourite jobs was working in a children's bookshop. And so I spent all day recommending and talking to children about the books that they like to read and trying to match kids up with the sort of books that they would, love and that would get them into reading, hopefully for the rest of their lives. And the thing that often came back pretty much most of the time was, I want a funny book. And so I wrote the Bum Book many years ago, just really from talking to kids in the shop and hearing what they were after. I remember writing, it took me a little while to write it, and I showed it to a friend, and he said to me, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever read. And I said, perfect.
Some friend.
Kids are going to like it. So that's what gave me my first inspiration. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, I have 3 boys in my family, so a 2-year-old, a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, all boys. And we have some fun Christmas traditions that we love doing. So one of them is we come together and we bake gingerbread cookies. We package them up, and then we walk around our neighbourhood knocking on our neighbours' doors and handing them out. And it's just something that we love doing. We get to meet and chat to the neighbours, which we're always zooming past. So it's just a nice way to also show them, not Christmas is about giving as well. Another one we love to do is getting dressed up. So we'll pick out the Christmas PJs, have them all matching. This year we've gone with Best&Less, their gingerbread Christmas series. So, and each year we pick out a new theme, and it's fantastic that we do that. We take some photos. So they're some of the traditions that we do. What are some things that you do in your house, Matt?
We love Christmas in my house, and my wife, Beck particularly, has decided that Christmas starts the day after Halloween. So we go from trick or treat to naughty or nice overnight. So the Christmas carols have been playing for a while. No, we love it. It's also, my birthday is Christmas Eve, and my wife Beck's birthday is Christmas Day.
Wow.
So it is a festive time of year, and we love it. So there's lots of carols, there's lots of Christmas craft, there's advent calendars, there are matching PJs, there's the whole shebang.
Do you get reduced presents because of the birthdays?
There's the combined birthday thing. Yeah, this is for both. Yeah, it was twice as much as we would normally spend. Yeah, right.
Kate?
We also love Christmas in our house, and I'm probably the leader of that, even with my son. We probably not dissimilar in the sense that we sort of get started nice and early. We've been pulling out all the Christmas T-shirts, pull out the Christmas pyjamas. We also do books. We start the Christmas books, and each year we usually buy a couple of new Christmas books, and so we've got a little shelf that's kind of building, and we spend December reading Christmas picture books together, which is really special and a lot of fun.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Sarah?
I come from a very traditional Lebanese family, and Christmas is a spiritual time for us as well as a festive time. So for me, it's all about balancing, traditions, sacred traditions, with kids don't always get that with what is happening in the world around them. So I try and wait till if it's officially Advent in the church calendar before I put the tree up. And every year I make an Advent calendar for my children that covers all the bases of what this season is about. So in the calendar, I make these little cards, and they will have either an activity. So today's activity is to go and pick out some toys, like brand new toys. We go buy brand new toys and we donate them to a charity. I've just interviewed Bill Cruz for an article in the Sun Herald, and he's giving out gifts this year. So we took the presents yesterday, so we cheated, to his foundation. Sometimes there is a fun thing to do as a family, so we love to watch Christmas movies. We make popcorn, we put the lights on, and we just sit all together and watch Christmas movies. My husband will ask for Die Hard, I will ask for Home Alone, my kids will ask for something different, so it's always like a big challenge, but it's fun, it's spending time together. And sometimes there's a fun fact, so why is the Christmas tree green, or why are there Christmas crackers, where did they come from? So my kids get a little bit of a Bible verse so they know the Christmas story, and then they get an activity or a fun craft to do, or a fun fact, or an act of charity. That was the other one. So writing a letter to someone in a nursing home, or sending a Christmas card to the neighbours, or things like that. So that's how we celebrate at my place. We love the Christmas carols. I have a Spotify playlist, and we play that in the car, in the house. I suspect that come January 6th, when I take down the Christmas tree, also a tradition in my culture that everyone will be over the carols.
I love that. Some very special ideas there. I think the magic is really, Christmas morning when, you wake up and the kids are so excited, and they run to see what's been left in their stockings, and then they dash to the tree. That's a really special moment. I love capturing that moment. What does Christmas morning look like for you?
It's all excitement. It starts in the very early hours, where we keep sending children back to bed. Like, no, it's not. It hasn't started yet. My mother-in-law comes and stays with us on Christmas Eve night, and wakes up with us in the morning, which is wonderful. So the kids love waking her up, which is great. I can send them into her. No, it's wonderful. There's lots of present opening and excitement, and just really lots of photos being taken and memories being made, which is really wonderful.
And Sarah?
I might recruit my mother-in-law to come spend the night on Christmas Eve after that. That's a really good idea. It's much the same. We gather around the tree. My husband's always half asleep. The kids are like, we try to get them to open the gifts one at a time, so we can make a moment of it, but it's just chaos.
Yes. Yeah. Very familiar. What about you, Kate?
Well, I usually find that I tend to peak about the 20th of December. So come the 25th of December, I'm like, it's here. What am I going to do, and how am I going to get through this? But we usually shoot out to the country. We've got a lot of family in the country, which is always super lovely. So we wake up on Christmas morning. We might go for a beautiful walk, across the paddocks, that kind of thing. There's certainly presents, there's certainly food. We'll sometimes try and find the little church down the road, because we know there'll be carols, we'll know that there'll be the story, and it's always really just lovely to meet new people as well around Christmas time. I think it's a great time to reach out, like you said, to neighbours and to people in your town. Lovely little sort of keeping it simple, I think, is a really nice way of celebrating.
Nice. So back to writing. You're all children's authors. Why do you write for children? What kind of sense of joy does it give you, or is it to make children laugh, or to smile, or to learn? Like why did you choose to be a children's author?
I think there's something really special about those early years as a reader. it's amazing to me how quickly kids can adopt the sentence "I hate reading" really early, and that kind of label that people kind of self-identify can last well into adulthood. And it's just not true. No one says they hate movies. No one says they hate music. So it's impossible to hate all reading. You just didn't like a particular book. And so I love creating stories for kids in those young years where I'm just trying to give them a really fun, wonderful time with a book. So that I hate reading becomes quite a hard thing to say because, I did have a really good time with that one, or I really did enjoy that one. So I love creating in that space. It feels really meaningful. It's also just super fun. I get to play, and it's great.
Yeah, it is a real parenting win when your children love to read and they get captivated by a book. What about you, Sarah?
I think it's very similar to Matt, although mine are less fun. And I think there's something about the magic of childhood where children are so open. They are open to seeing different ideas, they're open to seeing different ways of living, to seeing different communities, and that openness is a great opportunity to build resilience and empathy and understanding, and just a way to develop our children to be really robust human beings when they're older. And I try to make sure that with my own kids that their bookshelves are as diverse as possible. We have fun books, we have the bum book, we have Matt's books, we have so many books, but we also have really serious books so that they can understand what's going on in the world and just not grow in a bubble where just because they might have a privileged upbringing that they recognise that they also have to do their bit in the world. And I think books are a great way to introduce those sorts of ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I guess just following on from what both Matt and Sarah have said, I think stories are what make us. And I think, books are where we find we find stories everywhere, but I think books are just one form of where we find stories. And also in picture books, you have the luck of partnering up with amazing illustrators. So Sarah's book, Nice and Slow, and the Christmas Bum book, and even Matt, who illustrates all of his books, they're just stories are also told through illustration. So that is also one of the amazing things about books. And it was funny, talking about reading Christmas books through December with my son. He's 3.5, and I dropped him off to nursery school this morning, and he said to me, "Mum, when it snows on Christmas Day, will we go outside and make a snowman?" And I realised that we'd only been reading the snowy Christmas books up to date, and I sort of had to explain that we probably wouldn't be seeing snow this Christmas. And so it's time to probably bring out some of the Aussie Christmas stories. But yeah, stories certainly shape us about, and even from very, very early ages, as young as 12 months, children are starting to hear stories, and they're really important times, I think, for adults to be sharing, with kids, and books is an amazing way to do it.
Yeah, well, just on that, Christmas is also the time where you do bring out the Christmas movies and the Christmas books. I love The Holiday and the classic Love Actually. As a family, we love watching Home Alone. What about you guys? What are some books or movies, some fantastic Christmas books and movies that can inspire any listeners here today?
I have one from my childhood that I love reading to my kids called Santa Visits Australia, and it takes you through many Australian cities and towns, and it's really cute and so sweet. And I don't know if they still make it anymore, but I love it, and I've saved that for them. More recently, there's Melina Marchetta's Zola. She's got a Zola series, what Zola did on Monday, Tuesday, but there's a Christmas edition, so they love that. They've got Netflix movies that they love, from like My Little Pony to Arthur Christmas, or there's so many amazing stories and films out at the moment. I'm probably like having a mind blank at how many books we read this time of year. I bet I'll think of one as soon as we wrap up, but for now that's all I can think about.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple, and I think, with books and kids, I think there's two ways, having books that you can share with children, and also the books that the kids go to the shelf for themselves. So the one that I love to read to my kids at Christmas is a book called Great Joy by Kate DiCamillo. He was an amazing American writer, and Great Joy is about a little girl from a very sort of privileged background, living in her big, amazing apartment in a big city, and noticing the people around her where life isn't quite, as plush, let's say, as her own. And it's, how does she share Christmas with others? And that's an absolutely gorgeous, beautifully illustrated picture book. And then my son's favourite Christmas picture book at the moment is The Jolly Christmas Postman, which is an oldie but a goodie, and it's got lots of little, open envelopes and things that you can open, and that brings a lot of joy to him. So, yeah, there's lots.
Books-wise, we love The Polar Express. Love that picture book. Movie's slightly creepy, but the book is beautiful. And I think we do a lot of Christmas movies because, as I said, Christmas starts early in our house. But I think one of my favourites at the moment is a movie called The Star, which is an animated movie, tells the nativity story, but from the perspective of the donkey, which the kids really love.
Well, we might have a little plug on your books right now. So could you tell any listeners or anyone here today why they should read your book?
Sure. So Funny Kid is a series. There's 12 books in the series. So if kids find that they're enjoying it, there's plenty more for them to read. It's all about a bunch of kids in primary school getting up to funny stuff, and that's my job in those books, is to try and make your kid laugh. So if you have a child kind of age 7 through to 11, depending on kind of where they're at with their reading, then hopefully they'll enjoy Funny Kid.
Sarah?
I've noticed that we have a greater number of children dealing with things like anxiety and so on post-COVID, and life has been a little bit overwhelming. And I think just the being exposed to so much really cemented for me how important it is to just chill at home where you can. There's this pressure to have schedules with kids and to, move them from one activity to another. But sometimes all they need is to just be at home. Sometimes parents and carers just need to be at home. We all need to recharge. And so my book is about taking that time, just taking one day and just recharging and spending the day with the people that you love and in a space that you feel comfortable in, and not dealing with the overwhelm that comes with leaving the house.
Okay.
Well, some people call Christmas the silly season, so I'm certainly putting the silly into Christmas with the Christmas Bum Book. And look, it's a lot of fun, and I would say from 2 years upwards is kind of the age group, all the way to 99. It really, if I was going to say there was a bigger message to the book, it is very much that we're all very different from each other, and difference is something to be absolutely celebrated and to have a lot of fun and joy with. And so it's a book for sharing. Yeah.
Well, we have run out of time today. Thank you so much, Matt, Sarah and Kate, for coming along and having a chat about your newest books. Thanks to Best&Less Miranda for hosting this chat, and to everyone who came along to celebrate today. The books are Funny Kid Catastrophe by Matt Stanton, The Christmas Bum Book by Kate Mayes, and Nice and Slow by Sarah Ayoub. For everyone here today, please make sure you take one of the cards available for you to purchase these books and learn more about these wonderful authors. Please also make sure you browse the Best&Less store. There's some great offers, some great Christmas apparel, and if you're not already a member of the Friends Club, which is their loyalty program, please make sure you sign up for some great offers. Thanks for listening today. Until next time, Merry Christmas from Best&Less and Booktopia.
Thanks to all of our guests on today's show. Remember, all books mentioned in today's show can be found right now at booktopia.com.au. Links can be found in the description. We would also love to hear what you're reading, so feel free to join the conversation on social media. Search Booktopia on your favourite platform and join our book club. We'll catch you for our next episode, but until then, thanks for listening and never stop reading.